A recent government report has come out and confirmed what everyone has really thought all along, and what most people actually fear about common things that we use in our daily lives that are slowly hurting our bodies, slowing us down, and poisoning us. And a government report that just came out that links high fluoride exposure with low IQ among children has just come out. We're going to talk about that. But to say that we are in a day and age where people are slipping faster and faster, uh, it's no longer normal the way people act. People are being dumbed down. And 12 years ago, I started researching fluoride in water and I started taking it out. I took decisive action and started filtering the water at home. I had an emergency style filter that took out fluoride. I learned a lot about it. I'm not a doctor, none of this is medical advice, but I started filtering my water. And fluoride was one thing I wanted to take out with amongst a bunch of other things. And I started installing filtration systems in my home that didn't waste water like RO, but that took out fluoride, where a lot of people think that RO or reverse osmosis units take these things out, and they don't. Let's dive into this story. I put a link to the company that I've used for 12 years and that I am so happy with. I did a ton of research. Their prices are right. I highly suggest anybody go out and get an emergency water filter, one of those stainless steel 3-gallon things where you dump water in. Today at my house, I'm using that every day. Or one of the ones that are demand under the sink, because people need a backup source of water in case something happens. But check out this story. Exposing children to high levels of fluoride is consistently associated with lower IQ and potentially other neurodevelopmental issues, according to a report by the National Toxicology Program. Now, as a firefighter in emergency medicine, we see what happens when someone is hit with a dose of something lethal or poisonous right away. But very few people in this world really get to find out what happens when you have chronic, really small doses, micro doses of poison over time. And you don't truly know what effects it has on your body until you remove those toxins. And the water system is one of the easiest ways to poison people. And I know of somebody, I got to meet someone in the UK and I was told his background by a friend of mine. He fought against the fluorinization of water. He was actually in charge of the water supply and fought for it. And he was threatened, his job was threatened. He was saying the whole time, I will not put the fluoride in the water system. And ultimately, he was able to fight back the bullies that were trying to intimidate him to do it, the governmental bullies, and they didn't put fluoride in the water. And it was incredible. But very few people know that this is a very serious problem. It says in 2016, NTP started a systematic review of scientific literature to ascertain links between fluoride and cognition. On August 21st, it published a report detailing its findings. A total of 72 studies reviewed in the report examined how fluoride exposure affected children's IQ. 64 of these studies found an inverse association between estimated fluoride exposure and IQ in children, meaning their higher exposure was linked to lower IQ and vice versa. Let me throw out a thought, because there are some people that are going to watch this video and go, well, these are children we're talking about. The reason why it's easier to identify lower IQs in children if they're drinking or taking in specific concentrations of fluoride is because their IQ is actually tested. Adults don't get their IQs tested. Very few, you don't see lines at the IQ testing facility for adults to go. But type 1, if you agree, it seems like people are slowing down. That there is 2 classes now of human beings. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin, your gender, but it has to do with the ability to have critical thinking skills. And what we're seeing recently, and I don't want to really go too far on a tangent, but I really think I'm here somewhere. How many of you have watched social media lately, and it's the young people that are sort of losing their minds? Now, These studies that are coming out with a purpose, and this is something that you can actually do, is go and get a water filter that filters out fluoride and filters out other biological waste and hazardous waste and things like that, taking out specific things, metals like lead and stuff like that. This is something you can do here, and it doesn't cost much. I started doing this back in 2012, and my family has only drank filtered water with the fluoride, it's like 99 or 98% of the fluoride removed. And I'm always diligent on every 6 months or a year, depending on what filter, changing out those filter cartridges, because this is something very simple that we can do. And I think it's very important that we do this. It says here, this review finds with moderate confidence that higher estimated fluoride exposures are consistently associated with lower IQ in children. The report stated NTP is a unit of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So here we've got officially a government report talking against what governments around the nation have been doing, water programs fluorinating water. The NTP defined high exposure as drinking water with fluoride concentrations that exceed 1.5 milligrams per liter limit set by the World Health Organization. Well, I'm going to tell you this. I think zero, personally, fluoride is the choice for me. Just curious, hashtag water filter if you own a water filter that you are actively trying to clean up what you're ingesting as far as water. Let me know down below. I'm curious. And then if you don't have a water filter right now, I'm just curious how many people are watching these videos that are already preparing for harder times. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is one of the easiest things that people in the know could do to harm people, and they're not affected. This isn't like an illness or anything. This is just like, hey, something in the water, and then I'm not going to drink that water. We've also seen the government come out recently in like the last year and a half and warn us of a possibility of our water supply being tainted by bad people. And I think all of the writing is on the wall. And if you aren't actively working on this right now, I really do believe, let's just say I'm totally off base, right? And that nothing's going to happen. Well, what's wrong with filtering your water? Most people don't understand that an RO unit, for every 3 gallons it pumps, it only purifies, as an RO unit does, 1 gallon of water. So not only are you wasting a ton, you're actually not pulling out things like fluoride in an RO system. You have to have specific filters. And the filters I have use silver as well because they're antimicrobial. It's one of the easiest, simplest things you can do in life to get ready for harder times. It says here the allowable limits in the United States are different. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has set a threshold of 0.7 milligrams per liter, right? So that's way lower than what like half of what they're saying the permissible exposure limit is. Occurring, and then the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has a limit of 2 milligrams per liter. That's even more. So again, I choose zero fluoride. That's me. Now, as of April 2020, community water systems in the United States supplied water containing 1.5 milligrams per liter or more of naturally occurring fluoride to 0.59% of the country's population. So here you got over half of the country's population has exceeded the healthy limit of fluoride. And this has been happening for decades and decades. And again, you don't know what's happening to your body until you remove one thing that you're normally taking. The studies on children's IQ reviewed in the report were conducted in 10 countries, including Canada and Mexico. No studies from the United States were included in the review. That says a lot. Fluoride is a mineral that prevents and repairs damage to teeth caused by bacteria. In 1945, they say it was introduced to community water fluorinization programs, which has been considered a successful public health measure. I do not agree with that. And then it goes into the fluoride debate. My point being is that I think this is something that you should look into. You can Google all of this stuff, fluoride health concerns. You can watch doctors talk about it, both pro and con. But I'll tell you what, I personally believe that humans were not given fluoride all throughout the dawn of time until just recently in the last 100 years. And I think it is doing things to hurt people. So if you want a water filter, that I've done a lot of research on it. I love this. As a matter of fact, and again, I've used this water filter company for 12 years, every day. The link's down below. I have both the 3-gallon emergency gravity feed one that I currently use on my sink in my house, because since I moved, I have not yet installed the new under the mount demand one that goes to my ice maker and my water faucet. Check them out. I think people need to buy these now before there is some big public health scare, and then you go try and buy them and you're just not going to be able to. So links down below if you want to check it out. Also, compared to Berkey, the price is fantastic. And from what I've read of their independent studies, they actually pull more stuff out than Berkey's, and Berkey's just seem to be a little overpriced. So hope you got something out of this. Thank you so much for watching. The Economic Ninja is out.